We all talk about progress, but we tend to picture it as this nice, smooth, upward line. The reality? Well, it's a lot messier. It's disruptive, it can be chaotic, and let's be honest, it can be a little bit scary. So today we're going to pop the hood on the powerful engine that actually drives this whole process forward. Let's get into it.
And wow, what a time to be talking about this. We are living through one of the biggest disruptions in history. I mean, think about it. AI isn't just some abstract thing changing companies far away. It's changing our jobs, the skills we need, and it's making us question the whole idea of what work even means. This is the perfect, real-time example of the force we're about to break down.
So what is this force called? It's a concept called creative destruction. The economist Joseph Schumpeter came up with it, and it's a brilliant way to describe how the new is constantly pushing out the old. See, a new invention doesn't just add something to the world. It makes the old way of doing things totally obsolete. It's this endless cycle of economic death and rebirth, and it's pretty much the main engine for growth.
I know, destruction sounds bad, right? It sounds like something we should avoid. But here's the paradox we're going to dig into. This destructive process is actually what propels us all forward. To get what I mean, let's look at a classic example that most of us have actually lived through.
Okay, remember the VCR? It was a total game changer, right? It created the entire video rental industry. Then along came the DVD, which was way better in quality and a lot easier to use. It was a huge improvement, for sure. But it was still a physical thing you had to buy or rent. And then, bam, streaming showed up. Now this wasn't just a simple upgrade. This was a completely different beast that made the whole idea of physical media, from the factories making the discs to the Blockbuster store you went to on a Friday night, pretty much disappear. That is creative destruction in a nutshell.
So we know that creative destruction is powered by innovation. But what powers innovation? The easy answer everyone gives is competition. But as it turns out, the relationship is, well, it's a little more complicated than that. It's not as simple as more is always better. Let's take a closer look.
Seriously, think about it for a second. We're always told that fierce head-to-head competition is the secret sauce for creating new things. But is it really? I mean, what happens when the competition gets so intense that it's just a race to the bottom?
And this is where the incredible work of economist Philippe Aghion comes into play. His research gave us this idea of an inverted U relationship. Look at this curve. On the far left, you have almost no competition. Think of a monopoly. There's really no reason for them to innovate, right? So innovation is low. Then on the far right, you have insane cutthroat competition. Here, any profit you make from a new idea is immediately competed away. So again, why bother? Innovation is low again. The magic, the peak of innovation happens right there in the middle.
So let's just spell that out. It's all about these two extremes. If you're the only company selling something, you can just sit back and relax. There's no pressure to spend a dime on R&D. But on the flip side, if the market is just a total dogfight, any brilliant new idea you have gets copied instantly and your profits just evaporate. So you'd be crazy to invest millions. The sweet spot is that middle ground, where there's enough pressure to keep you on your toes, but also enough opportunity to actually make money from your great ideas.
Okay, so if the right amount of competition creates the perfect environment for innovation, where do the new ideas themselves actually come from? Where does the funding and the spark of genius get started? Well, it's not just one place. It's really a whole ecosystem working together.
Yeah, innovation gets its fuel from all over the place. You've got the huge corporations with massive R&D budgets. You have the gutsy venture capitalists who are willing to bet millions on the next big thing. You've got entrepreneurs starting up in a garage. And then you have the one we often forget about, but it's so important, government and public funding.
And the role of public funding can be absolutely huge. I mean, let's take the single biggest innovation of our lifetime, the internet. You might think it was born in some Silicon Valley startup, right? Nope. The foundational research, the really high-risk early stuff, was funded by DARPA, a U.S. government agency. Then, of course, you have the private side of the coin, venture capital. These are the investors who pour money into risky, unproven ideas, hoping for a massive payout down the line. They provide the high-octane fuel that allows startups to grow incredibly fast. They're the money behind so many of the tech giants, like Google and Amazon, that basically run our world today.
And this public-private partnership isn't just for tech. Just look at public health. Government groups like the National Institutes of Health have been behind the fundamental science that led to so many critical vaccines. Often, it's public money that pays for the foundational research, and then private companies build on that to bring the final product to all of us.
So this brings us to the part that really hits home for all of us. All of these huge economic forces, this disruption, this competition, this innovation, it all has a very real and sometimes very tough impact on our lives and our careers. How we work is changing, and it's changing faster than ever.
And you know what else is changing? What we want from our jobs. There's a really interesting split between the generations. For older generations like Boomers and Gen X, the thinking was often that more work equals more growth and more security. But for younger generations, Gen Z and Millennials, who've grown up with totally different challenges like climate change, they're starting to question those old models. They're looking for purpose and fulfillment, not just the paycheck.
This shift leads us to this really cool idea called creative action. Now, this isn't about being a painter or a musician. It's about the part of any job that requires problem solving, new ideas, and human ingenuity. It's basically the opposite of just doing the same repetitive task over and over. It's the human spark that really gives us a sense of purpose in our work.
And this, right here, is the most important takeaway for you and me. As AI and robots get better and better at doing all the routine stuff, our uniquely human skills, our creative action, become way more valuable. The future of our careers isn't about trying to do routine tasks faster than a machine. It's about leaning into the creativity, the problem-solving, and the adaptability that machines just can't replicate. Lifelong learning isn't just some buzzword anymore. It's a basic survival skill. So, let's start to wrap this up. It's pretty clear that progress isn't some calm, gentle breeze. It's a storm. It's a storm of creative destruction that's both incredibly powerful and absolutely necessary for us to move forward.
So let's just do a quick recap. First, progress is messy and disruptive by its very nature. That's creative destruction. Second, for innovation to really take off, you need that sweet spot of competition. Not too much and not too little. Third, the biggest breakthroughs come from a whole ecosystem of public and private investment. And finally, for all of us, the future of work is all about developing our uniquely human creativity.
And that leaves us with one final, big question. We know this engine of creative destruction is what drives us forward and gives us amazing new things, but we also know it causes a ton of turbulence along the way. The next big wave of disruption isn't coming, it's already here. So the real question is, are we ready for it?